It pleased
Daniel,
Darius,
chapter
2 appoint 120. It pleased Darius to rule throughout the 120 with satraps, administrators to rule throughout the kingdom. One of whom was 3 administrators, the satraps, were made. One of whom was dead to them, so that the king, the satraps, might not suffer were made accountable to them. Now, so that the king might not suffer loss himself among the administrators. Now, Daniel and the satrap distinguished himself by his among the administrators, that the king and the satraps by his exceptional qualities, that the king planned the administrators to set him over in the satraps the whole kingdom. Tried to find ground at this for the administrators against Daniel in the satraps in his conduct. Tried to find ground of government affairs for charges against but Daniel. They were unable to do in so. His conduct. They could find of government affairs corruption in him, but they were because unable he to was trustworthy. They neither could find no corruption in negligent him, because he was trustworthy. Finally, and neither corrupt said, we will never find negligent any basis. Finally, for charges these men said, this man Daniel, we will never find it has something to do with the law of for charges against this man Daniel, unless so it has something to do with the law of this God. Went as a group to so the king, these administrators and said, and satraps, my king Darius went as a group to the king, the royal administrators, my king Darius live forever. The royal administrators and governors have all agreed that the king should issue a governor, and have all agreed that the king should enforce the decree issue that anyone who prays to any god enforce the decree being that anyone next who prays to any god, your majesty, or human being shall during the next 30 days into the lion's den to you, your majesty. Now your majesty issue the decree into the lion's den in writing, so that it now cannot your majesty be altered. Issue in accordance with the law and put it in writing of the Medes, so that it cannot be altered. And Persians in accordance with the law, which cannot be repealed of the Medes. So King Darius put the decree which cannot be repealed. Now, when Daniel learned King Darius that the decree put the decree in had been published. Now, when Daniel learned that the decree had been published upstairs room, he went with the windows open toward Jerusalem to his upstairs room 3 times a day. With the windows open, he got down on his knees Jerusalem and prayed, giving thanks to 3 times a day, just as he got down on his knees and prayed. Then these men giving thanks to his God a group, just as he had done before, and asking God for help. Men went to the king and found and Daniel to him about his royal decree, asking God for help. Did you not? So they went to the king that during the next 30 days his royal decree. Anyone who prayed, did you not publish a decree that during the next 30 days, your majesty, anyone who prays to any god or a human being except to you, your majesty, answered, would be thrown into the lion's den in accordance with the law. The king answered, the decree stand and Persians in accordance with the law, which cannot be repealed. The Medes then they said to the king, which cannot be repealed, who is one of the exiles. Then they said to the king, pays no attention to you, who is one of the exiles from Judah. The decree pays no attention to you. He still prays your majesty today, or to the decree when a king heard in writing. He was still praised 3 times a day. He was determined to rescue Daniel. When a king heard and made every effort, he was greatly distressed to save him. He was determined to rescue Daniel and made every effort to King until sundown to save him. It said to him, then the men went as a group to King, your majesty. It said that according to the law, remember the Medes and Persians, your majesty, that according to the law, or the Medes and Persians, that the king issues, no decree be changed or edict, so the king that the king issues, and can Daniel be changed, and threw him into the lion's den. So the king gave the order, and the king said to Daniel, and threw him into the lion's den, whom you serve, continually rescue you. The king said to Daniel, may your God, a stone was served and placed continually rescue you of the den. And the king a stone was brought and placed over the mouth ring of the den, with the rings of his knuckles. And the king sealed it, so that Daniel's situation signet ring might not be changed. And with the rings of his knuckles. Then the king returned to his palace, that Daniel's situation spent the night without might not be changed, and without any entertainment. Then the king returned to his palace and spent the night without eating, not sleep, and without any entertainment being brought to him at the first light of dawn. And he could not sleep. The king got up and hurried to the lion's den. At the first light of dawn, when he came near the den, the king got up and hurried to the lion's den. Voice. When he came near the den, servant of he the called God, to Daniel, has your God in an anguished voice, whom you serve, Daniel, continually been able to rescue you? Has your God, whom you serve, Daniel answered, continually been able to rescue you from the lions? My God sent his angel, Daniel, and he shut the mouths. May the king live forever. They my God sent his angel, because I was found and he shut the mouth in his of the lion. Nor have they have not hurt me any wrong, because I was found in majesty in his sight. The king nor was overjoyed. I ever done any wrong before you, Daniel, out of your majesty. And when Daniel the king was overjoyed, and gave orders to lift Daniel out of the den, because he had. And when Daniel was lifted from the den, no king's command was found on him. The men, because he had trusted in God, were brought in at the king's command to the lion's den. The men who had falsely accused Daniel and children were brought in and thrown into the lion's den, along with their wives and children, and crushed all their bones. And before they reached the floor of the den, the lions overpowered them and crushed all their bones in all the earth. Then King Darius wrote to all the nations and people prosper greatly of every language. I issue in a decree that in every part of my kingdom, may you prosper people greatly. Must fear. I issue a decree, God, that in every part of my kingdom, people must fear, for he is the living God, the God of Daniel, and he endures forever. For he is the living God, will not be destroyed. He endures forever. His dominion, his kingdom, will he rescues be destroyed. He saves. His dominion will never end. In the heavens, he rescues on the earth. He saves. He has rescued Daniel from the power of the lion in the heavens, and so Daniel prospered. He has rescued Daniel from the power of the reign of Cyrus. So Daniel prospered during the reign of Darius and the reign of Cyrus the Persian.